Data Center News Asia. This time it's my turn to be on the road, James. I'm coming at you from Bali, and your lounge looks dark.
Yeah, well, I'd prefer to be in Bali, to be honest, but no, not too bad here.
Yeah, there's a lot of data centers coming up in Bali. It's an important business location. All the activity, but we do have a lot of activity this week, and I don't even know if we've got time to run over the headlines. Should we just dive straight into the news?
Yeah, let's give a brief overview, shall we? So we've got news on Singtel's development. We've got news on a bit more stuff coming out of Johor. We've got a groundbreaking in Japan. We've got 4 or 5 smallish facilities across the region. We've got some renewable stories, and we've got some crypto stories, which we don't always cover. And then finally, we've got a new update on Global Switch.
Ah, yes, the never-ending saga. All right, well, shall we start off with the local news then? So, local for you at the moment. Singtel, this is the groundbreaking in Tuas.
Yeah, so they had the groundbreaking for their Singtel for their DC Tuas facility. This is going to be a 58 megawatt facility when it comes up online. So when I think we reported on this previously, I think we were talking in the 30 to 40 range. However, they've now come out and said it's going to be 58 megawatts coming live 2025. This is an exciting one because it's integrating with their existing landing stations. And if I counted correctly, which I may not have done, I think there's 7 cables that actually land at this landing station. So this facility is going to be sitting right on the top of all of that. Other highlights: 80 kilowatt. They can apparently cater to 80 kilowatt racks, and going to be designed with a PUE of 1.3 in mind.
Well, there you go. That'll almost double their capacity from the 60 megawatts they currently have. And we don't even have time today because we're so busy to go into the potential dynamics with the IMDA and the recent auction. Just gloss over that. You had some news story from across the causeway in Malaysia.
Yeah, so I'm going to butcher this, but Tenaga Nasional Berhad, TNB, they announced their Green Lane pathway, which is, well, I think they formalized as they talked about previously, which is basically streamlining data center developments with the aim of kind of getting the process down from what sometimes takes 36 months down to 12 months. So basically just facilitating the whole process of getting DC approvals, getting energy and all that kind of stuff to these facilities. This is obviously part of their broader strategy to continue attracting data center developments to the to Johor. Also in Johor, 2 other stories. Michael Juniper from AirTrunk was there receiving a ESA, electricity supply agreement from the TNB. This is obviously pretty important because some people do speculate that there's not an infinite amount of energy obviously up in Johor. At some stage it's going to run out, so actually securing this is a pretty vital step, and I would imagine pretty crucial for their well-documented client. Also, while in Johor, GDS also had the groundbreaking ceremony for their Nusajaya Tech Park facility, the first phase of this development, which the total capacity, once fully built out all the stages, is going to be just under 70 megawatts, I think 69.5. This first phase is 18 megawatts. Big thank you for the GDS team for inviting DC Byte up to this event yesterday. I unfortunately was unable to make it due to having to extend my travel plans, but everyone said the facility looked very impressive, and GDS were again keen to point out some of the kind of the timelines for this. So built this first phase in 14 months, which is obviously very quick. Not so long ago, people were talking about it taking 2 years to get a DC up, and now they're getting them done in 14 months in places like Johor. So yeah, congrats to the whole GDS team for that landmark event. I believe that the facility is actually already handed over to the client, so we didn't get to go inside and take a look at the data halls, etc. But fully built this first stage. So congrats to them. We're now moving on.
We are running out of time for Malaysia. Yeah.
Yes.
This is GLP's groundbreaking on TKW1, which is I guess momentous is the first of their supposed 900 megawatt pipeline and $12 billion investment in Japan. So this is the first of big things for GLP, and it's a three building campus. This one.
Yeah, 3 building campus, 31 megawatts when fully built out. I believe the first phase is due to come online Feb 2025, which will be, I think this first phase will be 10 megawatts. They say building 2 will be 10 and building 3 will be 11. So my elementary school math suggests that this first one will be 10. I've got a different number for their pipeline. I've got 600 megawatts across 4 sites in Tokyo and 1 in Osaka.
My 900 isn't an official pipeline that's on DC Vita in development. This was the press release that GLP said that their plans were for the 12 billion allocation. So this may be an optimistic number or maybe a planned number for them. Who knows?
Maybe it's feed. Anyway, congrats to the GLP team.
Shovels in the ground
first. Yeah, good to get that first shovel in the ground in what is a very, very busy market, on which Tokyo West obviously caters to one of the big American hyperscalers, so I'm guessing they're going to be one of their targets. We're now going to very quickly go over 4 developments, smaller developments all across the region. So firstly up to Bangkok, where STT GDC announced, I didn't write down the name of this facility, but it's going to be their 3rd facility in Thailand. They're obviously partnered with the Frasers Group up there, aiming to bring this online at the end of the year, in fact. It's going to be in the one Bangkok district. So this is interesting. So this is a 2 megawatt development. So almost like an edge development right in the city, I suppose you'd call it. So bit of a change in, I suppose, strategy with their 1 and 2 being kind of more catered to wholesale / hyperscale developments. So interesting, this one. We're straight over to
in the size
NEXTDC.
of the Thailand market. 2 megawatts is actually quite substantial. But NEXTDC. This is probably the first new announcement we've had for a while out in Western Australia for actual things coming online quickly. There's some new developments there. I saw on the press release here that they have shipped this is an edge facility that they have pre-constructed in Sydney. It's made a 4,800 kilometre journey out to Western Australia, and it's a 1.5 megawatt single story unit. So interesting construction strategy, whether this is going to be a thing going forward for these size facilities.
Yeah, this is in Port Hedland, which my understanding is this is to support the kind of the industries, mining, forestry, this kind of stuff, which goes on in Western Australia. So that was a interesting development, not insignificant in size, actually 1.5 megawatts, as you mentioned, which, for the Western Australia market is actually, again, not insignificant. We're now on to Converge ICT, the Filipino telco / DC operator. They've announced 3 facilities, $60 million investment.
Yeah, these are in Quezon City, Cebu, and Pampanga.
Yeah, so these are, again, I suppose, edge / enterprise facilities. I think each of them will have initial rollout of about 600 racks, scalable to 1,000. So another piece of the connectivity jigsaw in the Philippines.
Speaking of
story number
connectivity,
7.
and jigsaws.
Yeah.
That's
There you go.
Equinix in Mumbai. So
Equinix Mumbai, their 4th IBX facility here, MB4 it's called.
Yeah, they didn't give a size, although I believe you have the calculation for Equinix cabinets. It's 350 cabinets, which is a smaller facility. $42 million. So, what we're looking sort of 6 to 8 megawatts here.
With Indian build costs, it's around 5 to 7, I would have said, but that kind of size. Again, they've got the Metro Connect link to MB1 and MB2, which is obviously very important for a facility of this type. So, congratulations to the Equinix team in India for getting another of their kind of internet exchange facilities up and running. Just very briefly, while we were on India, there was also a story about Intel taking space in Control S's Bangalore facility. Rough calculations would suggest this is kind of, 500 kilowatts, maybe up to around 2 megawatts deployment, but interesting Intel taking that kind of space.
Congratulations to the Control S team.
Yep. Moving on to the renewable story. So PDG.
Yes, so they have inked a deal for this is a biomass power for their Citybunk data center. It's a 30 megawatt facility. Um, some yeah, the plant itself is a coal plant, but they're doing a biomass conversion. So I think PDG through this deal, we'll be trying to encourage that transition. Initially, it will probably be about 20% powered by renewables, but as we often note in Indonesia, it's not quite as open and shut as it is in other markets, and can be difficult to get these deals going just to start with.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, it's the energy provider is Sikarang Listindo. I hope I haven't got that butchered that too much. This is an independent power provider, which is going to complement some of the other renewable deals and power purchasing agreements that we've talked about previously. Initially, they're looking at getting 20% of this facility um, powered by this biomass solution, and it's going to start. Well, it says August 23, which means
Yeah.
maybe it has already started or will be starting pretty imminently. Next, we're moving back to Western Australia, and we're talking about Green Square DC. So we've talked about Walt and this development a few times. What's happening
Yeah.
here, Rhys?
So they've signed a long-term ground lease over 31 hectares, which is a pretty substantial area. I mean, they're aiming to build 150 megawatts of wind and solar power there, which, for context, is that's a lot more space than it is in data centers. For those of us who are used to rating megawatts on square buildings, this will be a large plot of land. It's about 300 kilometers from Perth, but this area, this site has been earmarked for renewables for a while. It does already have a substation and 132 kV lines linking it to Perth. So the plan for this facility has always been to try and get 24/7 renewables. I think this is interesting on scale. The PR they put out of it has always been about doing things for AI and advanced compute, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to link into the crypto story. I know we don't normally talk about crypto on here, but this is a 100 megawatt data center in Bhutan, and the operator Bitdeer, they already operate 6 data centers across Norway and the US, totaling 775 megawatts. So these are pretty substantial facilities. And where it kind of links in is these are often places like Bhutan, low population, low costs, available renewable power. This one's going to be powered by a hydro plant. And it'll be interesting to see whether this ties into these huge new demands we're seeing for things like AI, whether crypto similarly is something that's a huge compute amount but maybe can be in more remote locations. So how that ties into other companies' sustainability strategies remains to be seen.
Yeah, well, what kind of caught my eye in this article was the 100 megawatt piece. Obviously, 11,000 crypto machines, $500 million investment. So yeah, again, back of napkin calculations here, it's suggesting that this kind of crypto facility costs about half of what a traditional DC would require. I'm guessing this is probably because don't have as much requirements for redundancy and stuff like that built in. Bit of a waste of energy, if you ask me, but that's for another day. The final one, we've got about a minute, so let's might as well cover it off. Global Switch, the story that keeps on going. There's now reports coming out. I think Bloomberg is where we saw this, that they are now willing to carve up the APAC and Europe operations, and even within APAC, also carve out the Aussie business and have that sold separately. So from the valuation of 10, 11 billion, they're now looking at 6 billion. The rough numbers that we've been provided for the APAC and European businesses was 3 billion each. Interesting to see what they would place the Aussie business at, because they've obviously got two nice city centre locations there, but issue is obviously the ownership, and especially with the Aussie government reluctant to put into a Chinese-owned facility. So interested to see if anything comes out of this. The team here we're working on a bit of a piece, just going through that portfolio a bit, which I will aim to share next week. Rhys, we have 20 seconds. Anything else?
I think we can wrap that up. That was blisteringly paced news. I hope everyone feels as informed as I do.
Yeah, and don't give out to us if we didn't go into as much detail as you would have liked. Like I said, we're against the clock today. Thanks, everyone.
Drop in the comments if there's any stories you want on for next week instead.